What's going on, everyone? Random Thoughts here. In this video, we're going to talk about the Google Associate Cloud Engineer Renewal Hands-On Lab that was only available on August 29th to the 31st. The TLDW is that if you have hands-on experience with Google Cloud, this is going to be an easy exam for you. So some background about myself. I've been working with Google Cloud, and more specifically Google Kubernetes Engine, since 2019. But prior to taking and passing this exam, I had not worked with GCP in over a year, since I'm primarily focused on AWS and worked a tiny bit with Azure. Let's take some time to better understand the exam and what to expect.
I wanted to provide you all with some information about what you can expect on the exam. During each lab, I ended up working with the following GCP services in some capacity. It can't drop the specific details, but I can give you the high-level overview. Not to mention that they'll likely switch this exam up over the next few months, provided that they use this new format going forward. All right, on to the services to be familiar with. GKE, Google Kubernetes Engine. Basically, you just have a high-level understanding of Kubernetes and how to use the UI to build a cluster. I want to say GCP security / networking, so basic networking. And what I mean by that is just understanding ports and that whole deal. Like that's really it. I mean, it's just they give you the instructions in the lab and you quite literally follow through. And then the next one is GCP IAM. So once again, with this just real basic understanding of the overall access and how IAM works within GCP. That's really all you need to understand. And the last one is GCP logging. This one might be interesting to some people. Just in general, like logging, formerly Stackdriver. So understand observability in GCP. So monitoring, logging, and some aspects of tracing. This is the PDF that was emailed to me a few months ago prior to taking the exam, basically informing me that this is an experimental format and instructions on how to actually log in via Qwiklabs. So if we scroll down, look at some lab exam logistics. So overall, you have 90 minutes to complete all exams. This excludes the lab setup time. So when you start these labs in Qwiklabs, it's going to take some time to actually load up all of the users and just the overall environment that they're providing you. It's recommended that you use an incognito or private browser window to run the labs. This is just to avoid session issues. So, if you have one user that's logged in, you complete a task in GKE, and if you log back in, there's going to be issues there. So that's what it's trying to avoid. You cannot pause a lab, so be sure to read each lab carefully before you click the start lab button. This is a big one. I guess just exam taking in general for these types of technical exams. Just ensure that you can read at a decent pace. That's just a heads up there. Each lab displays the time limit in which it must be completed to receive credit for that lab. A timer will start once the lab is provisioned. So of course you have a certain amount of time prior to completing it that you need to get done. So you can complete the labs in any order, but you must finish one lab before starting another. We recommend you complete all labs in one session. Yes, that's fair. And you must click the end lab button to confirm task completion. Yep, that's something not to forget. And then finally, if a lab is not fully completed, you will not receive partial credit. So this is the big one. They probably should have had this one in blue as well. This is an issue because, if you don't, you have to ensure that once you finish a lab, that it is in fact complete. Otherwise, I believe you'd fail. I'm not sure, but that's the lab exam logistics. So moving on to Qwiklabs, just wanted to make a note of Qwiklabs. So if you're not familiar with Qwiklabs, just check out their website. But in general, the exam uses Qwiklabs, and if you're not familiar with it, they basically provide you a walkthrough in temporary Google Cloud environment. So that's what Qwiklabs is doing. So think a Cloud Guru. Except it's more of a bite-sized format, so it's a lot quicker, it's a lot more condensed. And then full disclosure, I used Qwiklabs heavily in 2019 when I was tasked with building out multiple GCP projects using Google Kubernetes Engine for a stealth MVP, basically having no background in GCP at all in 2019, or in general cloud. I had a little bit of AWS experience back then. So the combination of Qwiklabs and documentation allowed me to achieve basically all the goals that I had that I was working towards. So as you can expect, I am a fan of Quick Labs. Yeah. So another thing is, once I finished the exam, it took around a week to get my results, which will be available on this site, Accredible. Just be sure to update your settings if you want to display your credentials publicly. So I think by default, at least when I first got my Google Cloud certificate, it was like private, and I had it on LinkedIn, and then if you clicked it, it would go to pretty much a dead link. So just a heads up there. But this is what you get, and this is basically it.
So some closing thoughts. I actually love this exam format. While I've finished over 9 practical exams at this point, the multiple choice aspect is primarily a matter of memorization via grinding videos and practice exams. I would prefer that most exams were hands-on and lab-oriented, just like this one. So here's to hoping that they're rolling out more exams in this format. Maybe this was their alpha or beta attempt to see if they could get more people to renew. I'm not sure, what the retention is on these particular exams. I know I wasn't going to renew only because I'm just not actively using GCP at the moment, primarily on AWS, and I've done a little bit of work in Azure. So that's it. I hope this video helped, and take care.